Dear Virgo, I called you that intentionally, not as a pleasantry, not as the reflexive warmth of someone who addresses everyone the same way. Because the energy I am sitting with tonight, the specific, tender, almost protective quality of what is moving in the collective field right now feels exactly like that word. Like something that sees you, not the surface of you, not the version you present to the world with its careful arrangements and its managed distances. The underneath of you, the part that is still soft in places, still open in places, still carrying the particular vulnerability of someone who has loved genuinely and knows what genuine love costs. That part of you is about to be surprised, not rattled, not destabilized, surprised in the specific, clean, completely unexpected way that arrives when someone does something that falls entirely outside the range of what you had prepared yourself to receive from them. Outside the story you had constructed about who they are and what they are capable of and how much of their interior truth they are willing to let become exterior action. The story is about to be revised. Not by words. Words are easy. Words are the currency of intention without commitment. By something they do, something concrete, something that lands in the physical world of your daily life as undeniable evidence that what this person carries for you has finally, irrevocably exceeded their capacity to keep it private. Soft sigh. In the symbolic cartography I draw from in readings like this one, the archetype that presides over unexpected action is not the dramatic, sword-swinging energy of sudden conflict. It is something quieter and in many ways more powerful than Knight of Cups, the one who rides not in battle but in offering, who approaches not to conquer but to give, who carries something, a feeling, a truth, an intention that has been forming in them for long enough that it has outgrown its container and brings it forward with a quality of gesture that is neither performative nor calculated, but simply, purely, the external form of an internal reality that could no longer remain internal. That night is moving in your direction. And what they carry is not a speech, not an explanation, an act, the specific, unscripted, coming from the truest part of them act of someone who has finally stopped waiting for the perfect moment and understood that the perfect moment is the one they create by choosing to act. Let me speak about what has been happening inside this person, because the unexpected act does not arrive without a preceding interior journey, and understanding the journey changes how the act lands when it arrives. What I feel in their energy is a long and private wrestling, not the wrestling of someone who is uncertain about what they feel. The feeling has been clear for longer than they have been comfortable admitting. The wrestling of someone who is uncertain about what to do with what they feel, about whether the act that the feeling calls for is one they are capable of, about whether the risk of being seen, of being known, of putting something real into the world between them and you and being unable to take it back is one they are willing to take. They have been standing at the edge of that risk for a while, approaching it and retreating, finding reasons, practical, emotional, self-protective reasons to wait for a better moment. And then discovering, as people always discover when they have been postponing something genuine for long enough, that the waiting itself has become the thing that costs more than the risk, that living with the unexpressed version of what they carry has become heavier than the exposure of expressing it, that the act, however uncertain its reception, is less frightening than another day of its absence. That tipping point has been crossed quietly, without announcement, in the private space of a moment you were not present for, but that changed something in the architecture of their intention with a completeness that makes what follows feel inevitable rather than chosen, as though the act was always going to happen and the only question was when the conditions aligned sufficiently to allow it. The conditions have aligned. Now I want to speak about the nature of the unexpected, because that word carries its own complexity and deserves to be handled with precision. Unexpected does not mean random, does not mean impulsive or chaotic or arriving without sufficient grounding in something real. What makes this action unexpected is not its origin. Its origin is deep and genuine and has been forming for a long time. What makes it unexpected is the gap between what you currently believe this person is willing to do and what they are actually about to do. The gap between the version of them you have been working with, the one constructed from available evidence, from the history of what they have and have not shown, and the version that is about to step forward and close that distance in a way the available evidence did not suggest was coming. That gap between the person you thought you knew and the person who is about to act is itself a kind of gift, an invitation to expand your understanding of what someone is capable of what people can become when they have done enough interior work to be able to act from their deepest truth rather than from their most defended surface. Soft sigh. For some of you, the unexpected act will be a gesture, something physical, something that appears in the tangible world of your daily life and declares, without requiring a single word to support it, that this person has been thinking about you. Specifically, with the kind of attention that produces acts rather than simply feelings. The kind of thinking that translates into doing, into the particular and irreplaceable language of action that says, more clearly than any speech, exactly where someone stands. For others, the unexpected act will be reaching an initiation of contact that carries a different quality from anything that has come before it. Not the casual reaching of someone maintaining a connection out of habit or comfort. The intentional reaching of someone who has made a decision and is enacting it, whose contact arrives with a weight and a directness that you will feel immediately in the quality of what is said, in the vulnerability underneath it, in the specific and unmistakable sense of someone who is no longer protecting themselves from the consequences of being honest with you. And for others still, and this is the dimension of the unexpected that I feel most strongly in the collective energy tonight, the act will be one of declaration, of someone putting into words or into action or into the specific form that feels most true to who they are, something they have been holding in silence for far too long, a truth about you, about what you mean to them, about the specific and irreplaceable quality of what they feel when they are honest with themselves about what they feel. Declarations of this kind, the ones that come after long silence, the ones that cost the person making them in ways that are visible in the quality of their delivery, carry a weight that the easily spoken ones never quite manage. They arrive pre-proven. the difficulty of the saying is itself evidence of the significance of what is being said. And what this person has to declare, however it finds its form, whatever language or action or gesture carries it into the space between you, has been earning that weight for a long time. I want to speak to you now about how to receive this. Because receiving an unexpected act, particularly one that arrives from someone whose capacity for this kind of gesture you may have quietly stopped believing in, is its own specific challenge. The heart that was not expecting something tends, in the first moments of its arrival, to question it, to look for the catch, to run it through the filter of everything that came before and ask whether it can be trusted or whether it is something that will not sustain past the initial momentum of its making. Let the questioning happen. It is honest and it is earned and it deserves its moment, but do not let it become the primary voice. Do not let it speak so loudly that the act itself, the genuine, costly, coming from the truest part of them act, cannot be heard underneath it. Because there is something in this act that deserves to be heard. Something that has been a long time coming and carries in its arrival this specific quality of something that had to overcome real resistance in order to reach you. Honor the resistance it overcame, not by immediately and unconditionally accepting everything it implies, but by giving it the specific quality of attention that something real deserves the full, present, unhurried attention of someone who is genuinely listening rather than waiting for the moment to respond. Soft sigh. There is also something I want to say about what this act reveals, not just about them, but about you, about the specific quality of what you carry that produces this kind of response in people. Because acts like the one approaching do not arise in a vacuum. They arise in response to something, to the particular and irreplaceable reality of a person whose presence in someone's life has the quality of mattering, of genuinely, consequentially impossible to substitute mattering. You matter to this person in exactly that way, not as a convenience, not as the best option currently available, as the specific, non-negotiable, nothing else compares thing that certain people become for certain other people, the ones that reorganize everything around themselves without trying to, simply by being what they are. You are that for this person. And the act that is coming is the proof of it, concrete, undeniable, landing in the physical world between you as evidence that cannot be reinterpreted into something smaller than what it is. Do not make it smaller than what it is. That is perhaps the most important thing I can offer you as preparation for what is approaching. The instinct to minimize, to protect yourself from the full impact of something significant by reducing it to something manageable is understandable. But this moment does not call for management. It calls for presence. The full, open, completely alive presence of someone who is willing to be genuinely moved by something genuinely moving. Be moved. Let it reach the places it was always intended to reach. Let yourself be the person who receives an unexpected act of genuine feeling with the full dignity of someone who knows their own worth, who does not need to perform either indifference or excessive gratitude, but can simply, clearly, honestly receive what is being offered and respond from the truest available version of themselves. Something beautiful is on its way to you, carried by someone who finally found the courage to stop holding it, moving through whatever distance exists between where they are and where you are, arriving perhaps sooner than you are expecting, perhaps in a form you would not have predicted, perhaps in the middle of an ordinary moment that becomes, in the space of a single unexpected act, something you will remember for a very long time. Get ready, dear. Not with your defenses, with your heart, open, grounded, fully present, and completely yourself. That is all the preparation you need, and it is more than enough. If this collective reading found you exactly where you needed to be found tonight, if something here named what is approaching before it arrived and gave you solid ground to stand on when it does stay close, subscribe and come back. Because the story of what this person does next is one worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every unexpected, beautiful, completely unscripted moment of it.